Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Palmetto Cats Live. I am so privileged to have Mr. Lyle Stokes from Catfish Weekly as my first ever guest. Welcome, Lyle.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. I'm so happy and proud that you invited me to be your first guest. It means so much. Been doing it a long time, and you forget about starting out and different things and how things went. And for you to ask me to be your first guest is really awesome for me.
Yeah, and what I told you is true. I want to, from what I've heard and what I've seen, you kind of started this whole live streaming Catfish Show talk trend. And so I wanted to pay homage to you and respect to you and really learn from the best because, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have been learning. We wouldn't have known how to do this and known that there was actually an audience for it.
Well, it wasn't just me. There was several of us that started it, and those guys have come and gone. But it all started out with a friend of mine doing an interview with me on a YouTube radio channel. And he wanted to know about building rods, and we done an interview, and he said, "How you think it went?" And I said, "I think that if you could figure out how to do it with cameras where you was live doing it," I said, "I think you'd have something." And that was on a Sunday night or a Monday night, and by Wednesday he had it figured out.
Yeah, figured.
Following Monday, we done the first live one, and at that time, nobody realized you could do it, and we didn't either. We didn't.
And then it just took off from there.
It did. The first few weeks was kind of slow, but some of those original shows now have thousands and thousands of views, and because it was Paul Ragsdale and Chuck and Chris and myself and a guy by the name of Lanham out way out your way, Brian. I think it was Brian. But there got to be too many of us, and everybody had weak internet connections and no cameras to speak of, and we all had to go out and buy stuff and different things. So, but yeah, and then a year or two later, we decided we was going to do the first remote, and we went to Monsters, Ohio, and Jim and Sheila was down there, and Aaron Wheatley, and I told Aaron was talking about it, and I said, I think I can do it if they've got a strong internet connection. And that was our first live shows, and we do 30 or 45-minute segments. And it was so popular that year down there that we do the shows at fishing at the tackle shop, and then at night we go to the motel, and there were so many people that wanted to do it that we'd set up and they'd wait in the auditorium of this motel, and they'd wait in line, and we'd do remote interviews for hours with those people that was at that. It was just so much fun.
So yeah, I was looking. By the way, did you just get you some bluegill bait there?
Some bluegill bait?
Yeah, you smacked a fly, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I
just love how nonchalant you were. You're sitting there talking and just wow.
It's been so nice, and it's actually been a little warm. And I've been working with my dog not to take off and run out of the house every time the door's open. So I leave the door open all afternoon. And, of course, them little things come in here and get them by the ton. So I whack them all night. But getting her to do what she's supposed to do when I want her to do it is more important to me having them in here. So
yeah. So I look back at some of your old videos, when I asked you to do this, and I just noticed a lot of faces I didn't recognize. And so you kind of went through those who those gentlemen were. You kind of want to go over like how you started, who you started with, and then the last, or when I started coming in, it was you and Doc.
Right.
So you go through that just a little bit. Give us the short story.
Okay. It originally started with Paul Ragsdale and myself doing that interview, and then we got Chuck and Chris to come in with us, and Brian Lanham, and we done it like that for a long time. And Paul's health was so bad that he was having problems focusing doing the show, and he was having some issues at home, and he approached me one day and he said, I'm going to have to quit. He said, I'm just struggling with my health so bad. He said, I want to sell my third. It was three of us that actually owned it. It was me and Chuck, or me and Chris and Paul. And he said, I want to sell my third of it. And I called Chris immediately. I said, hey, Paul's wanting to sell this. Do you want to go in with me and buy his third of this? And Chris didn't want to. So I just bought it, which gave me 2/3 of it. And down the roads, Chris and I had some disagreements on the vision for where the show should go and how it should take off and do things. And finally, one day we kind of had a little disagreement. I said, you know what? You're either going to have to buy my 2/3 out, or I'm going to buy your third out. And he gave me a price, and I sent him a check. And from that point, that's how things went. And he was mad about it for a while, but arguing amongst yourselves just doesn't work out very well.
No.
And I think we're both happier now than what we was. And I had Chris and Chuck on the show here a year or so ago. We had a wonderful show. It was a lot of fun. And we had Doc on the show. And he was real hesitant. He didn't want to do it and didn't do it for a long time. And then one day, he said, yeah, I'll do it. And Chuck and I was doing the show one night, and we got done. I said, it's just been you and I for a long time. And I said, what do you think about asking Doc to do the show? He said, well, I'm not sure he will. I said, I'm not sure he will either, but he's got so much great information that I just think if he would do it, it'd be a great partner for you and I. And he said, yeah, I do too. So I called him up, and again, he was a long time making the decision, and then he decided he would do it.
Yeah.
And, pretty soon Chuck got real busy at work. His wife is having some health issues, and he called me up one day. He said, man, I'm working night and day. He said, I just can't do it anymore. He says,
right,
something's got to go, and I'm going to have to give up doing the show. And I told him, I said, you will always have a spot if you ever want to come back. All you got to do is let me know. And then it was just Doc and I, and that actually worked out very well. Doc was having some things or what he told me was he was having some issues. Then he was going to move and do a bunch of other stuff. And I said, it's no problem. And I'll tell you the same thing I told Chuck, you will always have a spot if you think you want to do it. And my goal has always been to do it until I was 65 years old. And at the point things are now, I'm not sure I want to do it that long, but we've got JR in here. I tell you, I'm so impressed with the way JR has jumped in here in a short period of time and done things really well. And we're working to get him to where he can do the show by himself, or he could, if I didn't feel good one night, because let's face it, when you're the only one that ever learns to turn it on and set it up, the old way we used to do it is a lot harder than this. This is very easy. The old way was not like that. I mean, it was 30 minutes or longer to set them up.
Wow.
And nobody would learn it except Chris. Chris knew how to do it. Paul knew how to do it. And I knew how to do it. And when they was gone, it was me. And I tried to show Chuck and Doc one time at one Memphis, I believe it was. And it just takes too long. They couldn't remember how to do it when I got home. And
I got you.
Yeah, this is a lot simpler, but I'm really happy with the way things are going right now. And at some point you'll probably see me getting out of it, because like I say, we're getting ready to start our 6th year.
Okay, so that answers Michael's question. So 6 years running.
This fall will be our 6th year, start of our 6th year, and like I said, JR has done such a great job, and
yeah, he has.
He's just doing really well.
And what I like about how JR does it is, and I'm guilty of it, and it's not a bad thing, but when you're watching the shows, you kind of talk with the people in chat, and it's fun. That's part of the reason people come. It's part of the reason I come too. And so, as people are talking in the chat, sometimes there's no questions coming out. So JR is really good about finding those questions, the deep thought questions, ones that aren't just yes or no, open-ended questions.
If you were going to come on the show with us next week and he hadn't been on the show when you was on there, he would take the name and he would research out so he'd have correct questions to ask you.
Yeah.
And with me, everybody, I know so many people. When I ask them, I got a pretty good idea right off the bat.
Yeah.
But he does it the right way. And
Yeah.
I think Mike Greenwell's asking if I'm coming to Monsters on the Ohio this year, and not to change the subject, but
no, go ahead.
We have a deal with our boat where I have to sell it every 2 years, and my boat was just sold this last week, and it now is this Monday will be on its way to Michigan. It's going to be a walleye boat on the Great Lakes, so I haven't got another one yet, and my other boat hadn't been run for over a year, so I got to get it ready and until the new one gets here. So I'm not sure if we're going to do anything, and I'm not making any plans on any big tournaments until they get this coronavirus and stuff in, because I don't want to make plans and motel reservations and get all the stuff ready, and then it's something happen. They say, well, you can't do it, or we're not going to do it, or we're not making any plans right now. If we do anything, it'll be a week or so in advance. Say, hey, we're going to be here or there, and do it that way. And I think most of the big events are kind of like that right now too.
Yeah, actually, yesterday they our local club, the Santee Lakes Catfishing, whatever it's called, SLCC. They had their first tournament since they canceled the one yesterday.
Right.
So they actually we were out on the boat yesterday, and oh man, the people that were out on the water yesterday was crazy. Thousands of people. We went up the diversion canal, and we were dodging boats left and right just to get up through there. So yeah, things are cranking back up. Whether or not they should be or not, they are.
Well, everybody's got mixed feelings about
that's
that.
Right.
You can only stay shut down so long. People are. We was talking before the show. People are not meant to be homebodies. They're meant to socialize, and it's time.
That's right.
If you don't mind, there's another question in here.
Go for it. What is your new boat?
No, but I didn't get the new one yet. I haven't got that. The question I got here is, what camera are you using right now? And what I have is a Logitech 920. I've got two of those, and then I've got an older one. I'm actually looking into. They have a couple of upgrades, but the people that I know of so far are telling me that the upgrades don't do the imaging as well as the ones I have. Until I find out that they've got them straightened out, I'll keep the one I got. And the reason that I like this one so well and their imaging is so good, it's not just the camera. I have lightning fast internet. It's brand new. Within a couple years, they went through here with fiber optics, and it's the fastest stuff I can get. And that's a lot of the imaging and how clear things are is your internet connection.
So is it a webcam?
Yes.
Okay. So I've been doing my live streams on a DSLR camera, and it's not compatible for some reason with StreamYard. So I've been in the chat with StreamYard. I've talked to them on the phone, and they can't figure out why StreamYard won't recognize the DSLR. So the past few weeks, I've had a really clear picture, and then I talked to you before. In order to have a guest on the software I'm using, you'd have to download Skype, and you'd have to Skype in, and we'd have to do all kinds of crazy stuff. But
right,
I'll sacrifice a little bit of picture quality for ease of use.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's nice, but I'd like to think that the people that come in, don't really care too much about it.
Well, I think that's a lot of now. I went back at different times and looked at some of our old shows when Cindy and I had a place out in the country up in North Missouri before we moved to South Missouri. And I mean, we was 15, 20 miles from the closest internet tower and our phone tower, and the internet was awful. And the pictures was fuzzy. There was a big delay on everything you done. And then, the other guys that was on the show, theirs was no better. So it has really changed in the last several years on how this. And I think these programs that are coming out, they're better and better all the time.
They are. The one I've been using is Ecamm Live, and it works. It's an Apple based product, and it just works. I mean, you plug it in and it's on.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, but after the free trial, it's $20 a month. So I'm still thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, and
you can't buy a program anymore. You have to get subscriptions to everything now.
Well, we was going to buy that one before this one come out, and it was $800 or $900.
Oh wow!
But man, it would do some crazy stuff. And that's why, like we was talking earlier, that's why I got this computer built to do that program. And we get the computer built, and I don't have it but a few days. And StreamYard come out with this, and it works so good. That other program is just you had to be a pro at doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And to remember all that stuff for me was impossible.
Yeah. And there's so much to go into. And, you know, I guess I kind of want you to talk about that, the evolution of the live stream over the years that you've been doing it. You know, I just started and I've learned so much. I think sound matters even more than picture quality sometimes.
It's just like videos. If you don't have good audio, you don't have good video.
Right.
And we use an external mic. What I use right now is called a Yeti Blue. It's a snowball. The only problem with this microphone, it's got good quality sound and everything, but if you're in a room, say down in Memphis at Bass Pro Shop, we done a couple shows down there, and it picked up so much background noise that people listening to us was having a hard time hearing what was going on. And at the same time, we're doing a show. There's
excuse me,
ducks and stuff in the water behind us, and they're coming up trying to pinch Doc on the butt, and people didn't know what was going on.
On the wrong pipe.
Didn't know what was going on with Doc because there's so much background noise.
Yeah.
Hearing him and I was talking, and it was just so bad. Them ducks was just worrying the hell out of him coming up there behind him. He couldn't see him. He knew they was there, you know, if they biting him or what. And there was a fun time down there, and we enjoyed that so much. But we had to get away from the the moving water down there to do it. And then the next year we went to the out front in front of their big fireplace, and we filled that room up doing interviews down there, and people talking in the background. You just pick it up, and I didn't realize we needed it, and I ended up buying lapel mics.
Oh yeah, those are good
to do them with, and they was wireless. So everybody had to get a hub to put all the wires in and all this, but
so that's what I use for mine. I have a Rode Mini wireless.
And
it's like 2 squares, and you hook one square into your computer, and the other one just sits on your shirt.
Right.
And it, like I said about the Apple product, it just works. Like you turn it on, it automatically syncs. Your computer recognizes it, and you're done.
I like stuff that automatically works.
Yeah. So when you first started, did you have any of that? Mics, lights? What were you using when you first started?
I had to buy this I've had the Snowball since the beginning.
Okay.
Microphone. I've had it right off the bat from the beginning. It's only had a couple of I've only had a couple of issues with it, and I got those straightened out. But I didn't have anything to do them with. I went out and bought an older Logitech 67, I believe it was, camera, and it worked fine. We just didn't have enough connection enough to use it, much less that one. And I still have it, and it works amazingly well for its age here with this good internet. But yeah, I didn't have nothing like that. None of us did. It was all new, and nobody in our industry was doing any kind of a live show. If they was, I never heard about it. Nobody else did either, because you just didn't see it. It was all recorded stuff. They do shows and interviews and stuff, record them and put them up on YouTube. And that's how it was all done. And that was fine and dandy. But, doing it live was just a completely different thing that nobody else was doing. And I thought it was a great idea. I still think it's a great idea. It was several years.
Sorry about all the coughing. Let me go ahead and get it out real quick. You keep going.
Okay. Yeah, it was a long time.
Oh, man. Everybody's saying that I need a liquid, but it was the liquid that went down the wrong pipe. Don't you hate that?
But yeah, we still nobody else could figure it out. And I know, like James and several other guys have called me. There's a guy down in Alabama that does a show down there that called me up one day. I never heard of him. And he knew Jody and a couple of guys down there, and he does an outdoor thing. And he said, man, he said, is there any way you would tell me how you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
And I said, absolutely. I'd be glad to help you out. And James was the same way. He was struggling, and we tried to work his stuff out. I tried to help him and anybody else. I always did that simply because it's good for the sport. And I had a guy on a show one night. He said, man, you got to quit telling everybody how to do that. He said, it'll be the same thing you're doing. I said, there's plenty of people that are watching shows. There's room for everybody. And if they would rather watch somebody else, I'm okay with that. I don't have to do it.
And that's what my kind of, I support everybody's live stream. Let me just go ahead and say that.
Yeah.
And I've made that obvious. What I think the difference is, if you want people to watch yours, whether or not we're friends or not, I need to make my show more entertaining than yours if we're on the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked Sunday night for several reasons. One, I'm off on Sunday, and so I pretty much have the whole day after church to prepare and get things ready, think about what I want to do. And two, nobody else was live on Sunday. So, I wasn't stepping on anybody's toes.
Right.
But, the more and more people that want to get into it, they're going to have to go over. And there's shows that are on Facebook too.
Right.
Caleb Page from Catch the Fever, he does an amazing live show on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember the day for it, but he has great guests on there. Yeah,
Thursday.
Paul. Say that?
I think it's Thursday, isn't it?
Thursday? Okay.
I think.
Yeah, he had Paul Blackwell in there, who's awesome on Santee. Probably in my opinion, he's the best fisherman on Santee. That's in the public eye anyway. My dad would beg to differ. But as more people get into doing this stuff, me included, it's going to get flooded, and people are going to have choices to make, which is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Look at cable TV now. They fight for those spots, those primetime spots.
Mm-hmm.
And how do they get the views? Well, they make their show more entertaining. And I think that's what we have to keep doing. We have to keep bumping it up a little bit, learning about lighting, learning about, your green screen behind you, mics and things like that. And one thing that I think I know is a lot different from when you started to when we started is there's a lot more content available for people that want to make live streams.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot more tutorials.
We would search for hours
product
trying
reviews.
to find information on how to do it. Yeah, it was
one that I like is Peter McKinnon. Peter McKinnon, he's a true artist when it comes to video and photography.
Yep.
So looking at those people and just learning about how to do this the right way and make it entertaining.
That's right.
Is something we all have to do.
Yep,
so I just want to give a shout out to some people in here. I see Mike Greenville, Patriots in, John Patrick, my wife. She brought me some cough drops and it's helping. Thank you. Michael Murillo. I saw K&B Anglers, Avid. I saw Mrs. Catfish Headhunters and Mr. Setting Hooks and Crossing Ice. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you so much. I noticed we only have 17 thumbs up, but we have 30 in chat. Come on, y'all. Go help us out. And if you don't know how to, click the X on the chat, hit the thumbs up, then hit live chat again.
We have James Dockery is watching. He left a little note in chat that says he just wanted to make sure that I got up from my nap. I have news for James. If James wouldn't nap when he's fishing, he'd probably catch more fish. There's a super nice guy, and I've had James and his wife Katie on our show a couple of times, and just super nice guys. And
talk about a storyteller, right?
Oh yeah, we met them at a tournament, Quincy, Illinois, a couple of years ago. They come down and watched the weigh-in down there, and we didn't do any good, but the whole trip was worth it just to meet them, and they're really, really good people.
I see Pop, One Over Outdoor. I saw fishing and stuff. Hey, Keith, how you doing? Keith just put out a great bucket video today, awesome. So if y'all haven't seen that, go check it out. You know, probably some stuff you've already known about, but then he's got some cool stuff on there that I've never even thought about. And that, you know, and that's what I'm talking about, being creative,
right?
You know, doing things that nobody else has done. I see a guy named One Over Outdoors in here. He comes down and fishes Santee all the time. Great guy. Go check his channel out. Nitro, Catfish and Crappie was on Avid Show on Friday night. Great guy, just getting started out. Hey, Muskrat. So lots of people in here. Let's talk about, you know, numbers. You know, how for anybody wanting to do a stream or a YouTube video, what do you think the best way is to improve your numbers as far as people coming in watching or getting views on your videos?
I think the best way to do that, and it's something that I've quit doing and I shouldn't have, but if you'll make videos and edit them about your next week's guests and put them on Facebook, I used to do that every week. I'm a terrible editor. I don't like doing it. It's a pain in the butt to do. But if you'll make nice, short, 30-second clips about your guest and your show every week and put them on your Facebook page, I think that is the very best way to promote your show. And that way, say tomorrow night, we're going to have Terry and Diane on the show.
Right.
Some of the most fun people in the whole wide world. And I should have had that out, but it's just right now, things are just hard to get all the stuff done. And I'm here by myself. Cindy went to her sister's for a few days, and I just can't get it all done anymore. But those videos are, but a promotional, if you don't want to do the videos or you don't have time to do the video, make an informational post about it and put it up. I think that is a real good deal. Now, I used to do the videos with a voiceover on them, and that worked out really well. And then you could tell about your guest and what they done and different things. But it takes time. And let's, you know, right now, I think everybody's got plenty of time except me with this COVID-19.
Yeah.
When life is normal as we once knew it, it's hard to come up with time to do all that stuff. But promotion is a great deal. And we would do a lot of promoting, say, if we was going to be at an event and we was going to be doing live shows. We go to Memphis, we do 2 or 3 days of live shows. Or when we go to Monsters on Ohio, we do 2 or 3 days sometimes. And some of them would be at Bass and Morton. Some of them would be at a motel. And, you know, people would get after us if we was just out in the parking lot. We'd liable to go live out in the parking lot with 100 people, you know. Them are some of the most fun times that you can have. Everybody's enjoying themselves, and you get straight stuff from the people that others may never hear anything from, because everybody that you want on your show will not have the internet or the cameras or the microphone stuff. Number two, there's a lot of men and women that don't want to be on a camera. They just don't want to do it. They think it's a great idea, and they'll watch a show, but they don't want to do it. And you'd be surprised at the ones that don't have internet connection, and others that do just say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not that guy.
Right.
But once you get them on and you get rolling, one of the best interviews we ever did was with Janet Fox and her girlfriend, lives over there by her. They refused to do interviews with us for a long time. and they was at I believe it was the first or second Catfish conference, and I talked Teresa and Janet into doing an interview with us, and it was one of the greatest ones because I asked them numerous times, and they was a little bit nervous, but I got on Janet about them Cincinnati Reds and the St. Louis Cardinals, and the next thing you know, they done forgot all about it. And that's what you have to do. You have to come in a comfort zone. And if it's somebody you don't know, you better make them your friend right off before the show ever starts and get them comfortable talking to you. And once you do that, you're gold. Because I tell everybody when we started, it's just like you and I sitting here talking. You can't worry about what them guys in chat are doing, what they're saying. If you get a chance to look over there and they want to know something, yeah, that's great. But it's just you and me carrying on a conversation about something we both enjoy. And that's how you have to look at it.
Do you find did you ever do any like fishing videos before the live streams?
Sure.
Like, were you did?
We've done some. I don't know if any of them are still up or not. Cindy and I have a problem doing videos where a lot of words have to be bleeped out. They're actually kind of funny when you go back and watch them. I have a video shot that I never edited a day we spent in the boat with Jeff Dodd down in Tennessee, and I need to get that done. But again, there'll be several excerpts that you got to take out. But, it was one of the most fun days on the water that we ever had. We went down there and fished with him and stayed down there, and it was our anniversary weekend. And we didn't go down there to pre-fish for a tournament, although later, a year or so later, I was in those areas and I'd forgot wherever we was at. But I did remember some of the stuff that we seen. But Jeff Dodd was the all-time greats, and we had a wonderful day. We didn't catch very many fish that day. It didn't matter. I mean, it was having a good time.
You could once you edit it, you can beep out all the unsavory words and just that you can have clickbait. What's that beeping? And just have a picture of an engine. So people think that you're going to break down. Man. And then during the video, it's just beep, beep, beep.
Originally, I didn't worry about it, but, Cindy kept getting on me about saying different things. And I haven't smoked in a very long time. I used to be a big-time smoker. And when we originally done the show, I was smoking during the show, and I wasn't the only one. But, I had guys that would tell me, man, that's not professional. You need to quit doing that during the show. And Cindy would tell me that. And then I had one guy that I respect highly that his daughter was watching the show, and she didn't understand why I was doing that on TV because they broadcast on her TV. And right then and there, I knew I had to do something. And I told everybody else that was doing it, I said, no more of that. Because when kids are watching our show, we have to sit, regardless of whether we think that we are an example for them kids or not, we have to set an example because let's face it, we don't want any of them doing it, regardless of what we do. We don't want
That's right.
And
that's right. Do as I say, not as I do, right?
All right. But yeah, you're exactly right. And we tried to get away from that. And I watched a couple of videos this weekend, and I noticed that guys was smoking on the videos, and since I haven't in a long time, I picked that up now. Where I used to be, I would just overlook that because I always thought that what I do is my concern, but when it affects children, it no longer becomes your concern because I would never want a kid to have a cigarette just because they seen me do it or someone else, not just me. It's a filthy, dirty, nasty habit. I've done it for over 40 years. Don't regret a minute of it, but I don't want to see any kids do it.
Yeah, I agree. We were also smokers back in the day, and we quit it a good while ago, and you feel better, but yeah, there's a certain I don't know what the word is, but a certain way people look at you, when you're on video, and you're smoking, it's almost like you don't care, which is far from the truth.
That's
You
right.
know, obviously you care about what you're doing, and it's just something like drinking a soda. A smoker, drinking a soda is, just like smoking a cigarette. But yeah, it's a tough habit to break, and I think those of us who are able to do it have really, really done something. So I guess let's talk about. I had a question earlier, and you can choose to answer it how you want. But I've seen a few shows, where some people have gotten heated on the show, and nothing, no, there's never any disrespect, but it's you can tell, you can look at people's faces, and you can tell, yeah, they're not having it right now.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've seen that look on your face. So
Yep.
tell me about, and you don't have to use any names, but like, tell me, what you do in those situations, or how many of those situations have you ever been in where maybe you just wanted to shut down the show because you were so frustrated?
I have had several of those, and I would always let them wear out as long as they didn't get carried away. If I thought they was getting over the line, we'd change the subject and go to something else. We had a guest on 2 or 3 years ago that had won a tournament, and the guy is very knowledgeable, but sometimes he does things and says things that you really have to watch because you don't want that getting out. And I had him on the show, and on the other program that we'd done this one on Hangouts, there was a button where you could mute them, stop them, kick them off, do anything you needed to do, you could do it. And the whole time I sat there with my mouse on the button that would mute them because I was scared to death.
So basically you had the bleep button without the bleep.
Yeah, and I was worried about what he might do or say. And I have to say, it was one of the better interviews we ever done. He done a bang-up job, and I thought he done great, and wouldn't be afraid of having him on the show ever again, just simply because of that. And he done a great job. But you don't know. And I got into a deal. It was 2 or 3 years into Catfish Weekly. There was a guy that absolutely, he's got a website, Facebook account or something up north, and he was telling people how he was going to do this and do that, and then he did just exactly the opposite. And we got off on that, Chris and Chuck and I did one day doing a show, and it's still up. So I mean, it just proved, if you ever find it, you'll know it. And I said some things I probably shouldn't have, but they was all true. And afterwards, I wish I hadn't have done it, but I was honest about my feelings, and I never did take it down, and it's still up today. Do I wish I hadn't done it? I absolutely do. But it's too late now, and 3 or 4 years after the fact, I'm not gonna take it down because I was asked questions and I give direct answers. And I probably shouldn't have done it, but I was so mad by the time the question come around to me that I was smoking, and just really hot about it, and the things that he had done and said, and the stories he told people, and we was visiting about that. And I wish we hadn't even done the show, but we did, and we got out there. But the best thing to do, in my opinion, is try to get off subject if it gets out of hand and get on to something else.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, and I guess that's one of the things you risk, when you have a guest on is, I guess you could just choose not to answer and end the interview, but then you probably won't get many guests after that.
No, and I've been on a few of them. One of the ones I've done recently before you was I done a recording with Dieter Melhorn, and of course Dieter and I knowed each other for years, and it was a podcast, and we had a great time. But I do several of these. It's a little different, and you'll notice it's different being on the other end of them when you're doing them. Being a guest is actually being a host, but it's good for you to be able to do that. And if you can carry on an intelligent conversation with somebody else, when they're asking you the questions. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. We do a lot of them, and I done one with a bass fishing guy here a while back. I said, man, I haven't bass
fishing
30 years.
Whoa. Hey, don't use that language on my show.
He said, I don't want to ask you about fishing for bass or catfish. He said, I just want to visit with you about how to do shows and what we've been talking about. And I said, well, I'll be glad to do that. I said, but if you're going to ask me anything about, I said, I haven't had a bass plug in my hand in years. The only thing I do besides catch catfish is bluegill fish and
that's right.
Bait.
And that's when I catch bass. I catch bass when I'm fishing for bluegill.
Yeah, it's by accident. I promise.
Yeah, little red worm. They love them red worms. Now.
Oh yeah, they like night crawlers too.
John Patrick said, "Hit the mute button." You started talking about bass fishing. Yeah, yeah. Mike Greenwell, we can't use bass for bait, but
we could.
Yeah, no, we can't use them for bait, and. You probably have every bass fisherman up your rear end here if you even tried.
I'm really close to Lake Ozark. It's the number one entertainment lake in the United States. People go there for partying and
gambling and stuff.
And we rarely keep fish just because I don't like to clean them. It's not that we don't like to eat them, but I don't like to clean them. But when we go up there, we usually wait till we got anything worthy. We usually wait till we go back to the dock when the people are loading and unloading boats and dump them out right there at the ramp, make them watch us throw them back. And I enjoy that. There's something about that I really like. But I've had guys say, if we know there was fish that size in that lake, I'd never let my kids swim in it. And they don't realize that them fish are even in there.
Yeah. Hey, have you ever seen the Netflix show Ozark?
No.
So it's apparently about, it's about drugs and murder and stuff, but it's really entertaining. But it's about this couple that owns a casino in the lake, the Ozarks.
Okay.
So I didn't know if you brought it up, the Ozarks.
I would watch it. I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it. Cindy got on me here a while back and decided we was going to do away with cable, and we've got Hulu or some kind of. And we get to watch a lot of stuff. I got to watch the stock car races. One of the things that really, the reason why I let her do it was last year the cable company or the satellite company that we had to go in with the St. Louis Cardinals about televising their games. And if we're in a car, they have that on the radio. If we're in a motel and it's on the TV, it's on my computer, it's on I have a big screen in here, and if the St. Louis Cardinals are playing, it's on that big screen. And when they wouldn't put up the TV, the St. Louis Cardinals, I was ready to get rid of the satellite dish at that time. I told them to come get it and take it off my roof, because there's only a few things that I watch religiously, and the St. Louis Cardinals being number one, NASCAR, and some of the fishing shows are number two. But when they wouldn't pay $3 or $4 a month extra for that, hell, I'd have paid for it.
Yeah.
I just want to see them. And now this year we haven't got to see any. So
yeah, we're going on close to 10 years without cable. We got rid of it because the cable companies wouldn't offer like customizable packages. Like, we just only wanted to pay for the channels we watched.
Right.
And they wouldn't do it. So we dropped them, and we got Netflix and YouTube, and sometimes we do Hulu. My wife likes a few shows on there, so when they have new seasons up, we'll pay the monthly subscription for that. Well, but basically, we watch Netflix and YouTube. That's our two main choice. And then we have the satellite, or the the little digital antenna that picks up the local channels.
Right. We've got
for weather and stuff. Yeah.
We actually are saving over 50% of our cable bill, our satellite bill. Over 50%. That's a huge saving.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, our cable is almost $180. And so now we probably pay $10 a month for Netflix.
Yeah, I don't know what this stuff costs exactly, but we was paying over $100 a month for the satellite. It just isn't worth it. Oh, Wicked Ed Whiskers I got a Cubs fan in here. All righty then. Oh, man. I used to have a good friend of mine, and his son still, and I go at the Cubs and stuff. But when he was alive, people would see us messaging back and forth on Facebook about the Cubs and Cardinals. And I had a guy send me a message one day. He says, "You better leave that old man alone about them Cubs. He's gonna drive and beat your butt." I said, "You don't understand. Him and I are friends. I mean,
yeah,
we eat dinner together whenever we see each other." He said, "Man," he said, "sounds rough. You guys get at it." I said, "It's just a joke." I said,
That's how it is for football down here.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have a baseball team in South Carolina. We don't have a football team, really. I guess we share the Carolina Panthers, but they're in North Carolina, so we don't really have any professional ball teams at all. Basketball, baseball, football, nothing. So, you know, people have to root for teams from other states, and you know, a lot of Steelers fans in South Carolina. Lots of Steelers fans. Yeah, lots.
What's up with that?
I don't know. You know, if you got to jump on a bandwagon, you know, jump on a decent team, I guess. I don't know.
Oh man,
I used to be a huge Atlanta Braves fan. You know, I would collect the baseball cards, and I'd get a box of cards every year for Christmas. And I just got out of it. I played baseball all throughout, you know, my youth, and when I got to high school, I had to focus on grades a little more. Ended up playing tennis in high school, believe it or not.
Really?
But yeah, but I got out of baseball, and you know, I still enjoy it. You know, YouTube will have those best plays, like the compilation videos that people make, and I'll watch them all night. You know, so I still love baseball. So tell me, go ahead.
I'm a fan of baseball. I love my Cardinals, but I'll watch any team play just so I can watch the game.
Right. Yeah. I love baseball. I love it. My favorite player was Fred McGriff from the Atlanta Braves, the crime dog.
Yep.
Because he was a first baseman and I was a first baseman. So
great player.
Yeah. I saw David Justice was just on Facebook doing something, another old one. But so besides Palmetto Cats, of course, what are some YouTube channels that people should be watching? What are some that have just caught your eye, and every time the video comes out, you make sure you watch it?
I really like Patriot James's shows. It has a really good point to the reason that he does it. And I think James is a super nice guy. I think everybody should watch him on Wednesday nights.
I agree.
Dieter Melhorn and I have been friends for years. Dieter puts out some really good content. I like him. There are several others that I watch. Some of them, the ones that I don't like to watch are promotional videos where all they talk about is this guy's fishing rod or this guy's reel or this. I get sick of hearing it. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to do a certain amount of that, but some of them get too carried away about that, especially with the products they're endorsing. They're not getting paid to do that. They're getting free this or that. They're not actually getting any money out of it. So why would you do to that extent? But there's a whole bunch of them that I like to watch. And I like to watch other stuff besides catfishing, guys, believe it or not, like Black Tip H. The guy does amazing stuff. And I think that guys that are doing videos should be watching the bigger names and trying to do some of the stuff they do to make their content better. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I've picked up some stuff from JR, and I think that he does some of that. But JR's content ability and the way that he does things now from when he started has really improved. And that's one of the reasons I thought he would be a great asset to our show, but he's well spoken. But I watch a lot of catfishing videos, Chris Souders' stuff. Now, I can't make an intelligent, and I don't mean this bad by no means, because I love Chris, about his TV shows, because I've only seen a couple of them.
Yeah, I think there's only been 2 published.
Yeah, I've only seen a couple of them. So for me to say that it's going to be the best thing in the world or the worst, I'm not going to do that. But the ones that he does on, what is it, Tuesday nights, sitting on the bank, people want to know about bank fishing. So he sits out there in the rain and does bank fishing talk shows. I think that's wonderful. Some of the older videos that he does really good. Hagen Grubb is somebody that has caught my eye. He's
exploded.
He just did. He all of a sudden one day, Hagen Grubb makes a video, and he's just like the guy next door. He's your neighbor. He's your friend. His son is part of your family. I mean, they just, you're right. They exploded. They do a really, really good job fishing and stuff. I don't make a lot of stuff, but I think Keith is probably one of the most innovative guys I've ever known.
You know, when Keith makes stuff, he kind of tricks you, because he does it so well that he makes you think that you can do it.
Yeah, and for me,
it looks so easy, and then you're like out there with like a blowtorch and melting your table down. But yeah, I actually, speaking to Keith, and he's just a really good guy too. But
yeah,
but I just built my bait table. I built me a bait table for the new boat based on his video that I saw. So, it's while he makes it look easy, and I'm sure that, he's made his share of mistakes.
I'm sure.
It's not as easy as it looks. So he tricks you.
I tell you, I sit here, and if K&B comes out with a video, it pops up as a notification. I go and watch it right then. And if I'm watching something on TV, I'll usually put that on hold to watch them guys, or to watch a video you've made. I really enjoy your stuff. I never met you personally, never met Anna personally, but you guys are just so much fun in those videos. I feel like I know you, and I knew if I seen you out on the street, I think I could walk up and talk to either one of you without
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I enjoy that kind of a relationship with the shows that I watch. The guys from K&B, I seen them down at the Catfish Conference not this year, but the year before. If I seen them on the street, it'd be the same way. I just walk up and grab old Pop and give him a big old hug. The social distancing thing would be out the window for me. Justin's fishing fetish, he's another one. And that little girl, man, she's awesome.
She was catching some big skipjacks.
Oh yeah. There's just tons and tons of people like that I can't think of all of them. So please don't anybody get upset.
Yeah, and everybody in the comments, I see some comments. I remember it was my question. I put Lyle on the spot, but that's what I want to know. I want to know, like, who catches your eye, because those of us who are serious, really serious about making our stuff better, we need to be catching people's eyes.
That's right. And Kevin, I got to tell you, I probably get a minimum of 20 a week, and a lot of weeks I'll get 100 people wanting opinions about how to do this or that, or should I do this or that. And whether they like it or not, if they ask me, I'll give them an honest opinion. They may not like what I've got, and I'll tell them that straight up. But if you want to know, this is what I think about what you're talking about, and whether you like it or not, this is how I feel about it. And just because I don't like it or do like it doesn't mean you have to do it that way. But I get a lot of that, and I try to help people to keep them from getting in trouble and doing something that I know is going to cause them issues. Because let's face it, I've been through that. Some other people have. Some of the guys that are so critical about what people say, do, or what is made up that other people didn't do, they're the evil part of our sport. and most of them people should be shunned away and be got out of the sport because they're only doing harm to the rest of them.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we all have to realize that the people that are making the big bucks off of YouTube, there's only so much room for those guys.
That's right.
And you kind of helped me realize that, and so did Patriot. We're doing this because we like to do it, and if you don't like to do it, and you're like, sometimes I'll get down looking at my numbers, looking at my subscribers, and I'm not sure why it's not growing, but it's growing incrementally.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm fine with it because my wife gave me the best advice ever, and I've said it once, and I'll say it. I've said it 3 times. Keep saying it. She said, if you're not having fun doing it, then don't do it.
That's right.
And so that just kind of changed my whole outlook on it. Trying to get to 1,000, that number shouldn't be my goal. My goal should be to have fun and reach out to people. And if people learn from what I'm doing, then that's cool. Or if people just like seeing what I'm doing, that's cool too. If it ever gets to the point to where, I'm not having fun, or, people are just dogging me and I'm doing everything wrong, then it's time to hang it up and I'll just keep fishing by myself without cameras.
Well, I really think that if I thought that you was doing something that you shouldn't be doing, I'd call you on the phone or send you a message, say, hey, call me. And I would tell you why I thought that. Again, it would be your decision if you wanted to change it or not do it. Mm-hmm. I would still watch your stuff regardless because I enjoy watching them. But mm-hmm. I think that if you can't take a little bit of criticism once in a while,
right,
and especially if it's from people that you believe in and trust and know. James and I talk a lot on the phone together, and we talk about a lot of different subjects. But I just think that if you're in doubt, you should call somebody that you trust and get their opinion. I think that's valuable. I always have had a group of people. Now they've changed over the years. That if I was going to do something or say something or bring something out, I would trust these people to give me the correct information. Now, a couple of times it backfired on me, and they give me wrong information. But if you've got 4 or 5 guys that you trust will be honest with you, and they say don't do it, or yeah, you'll be okay doing it, the end result's still yours. So you have to decide if those are the people that you want. But I've always had, when we run tournaments, I never made decisions without that core group saying, yeah, I think that's the way it should be done. I just didn't do it because I knew they would give me their honest opinion. And if they didn't think it's that way, they wouldn't have told me to start with.
Right. And I think I want to go back to what you said. If you can't take criticism and you don't, then you really don't want to get better, in my opinion.
That's right. That's exactly.
I mean, that's kind of ripping the Band-Aid off and just telling it like it is. If you don't want to take criticism, and here's the other thing: most people that give you honest criticism are the ones that really care about what you're doing.
That's right. They're trying to help you.
Right. And I'm not talking about the troll, that comes over and gives you a thumbs down and says you're stupid or you're doing it wrong. Yeah. I'm talking about the guy, like you said, and he might not, I don't know if he's going to like it or not, but Keith actually called me up after my second live stream ever. And he was giving me some pointers. And I feel like when people actually take the time out of their day to give you that constructive criticism, then they really care about that. And that means you're doing something right too.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So, if anybody in here has a channel and you feel like, people are telling you, trying to give you criticism or trying to help you out, then take it and try to change it.
Right. And you don't have to make desperate changes to go be subtle. Go a little bit here, a little bit there. Make things work out for you. I also, one of the things while we're on this subject, and
go ahead.
I don't know how long you want to go with this, but I got all night. But
go ahead.
I think that guys that are doing the things that we're doing right now, these video shows, I think they're a great thing. But if you are doing videos on the water like you do, I think that should never stop.
Mm-hmm.
Never stop. Never stop doing fishing videos to do this. We got so busy at one time that the only time that Cindy and I ever got to go fishing was at big tournaments. We'd had to quit fishing the small tournaments. We didn't get to go out during the week because what we was doing become a 7-day-a-week, 8-hour-a-day at least deal to do Catfish Weekly, and it started not being fun. And when it's not fun, it's not worthwhile. And we made some changes. Some of them was for the good, and some of them wasn't. But if I want to go fishing now, I can go fishing. I would always have 6 or 8 weeks of guests lined up in advance. I don't have that now because you get a cancellation. You had to have a backup guy. Mm-hmm. And it was a job. And we started getting phone calls in the morning when I get up, and at 10, 11 o'clock at night sometimes, I was still answering emails and things like that. It just got out of hand, and you couldn't do anything else. It's slacked up, and it was by design, actually. But yeah, if I want to go out and make a video, I had a big time YouTuber send me a message like that, maybe coming out my way later this year. Wanted to know if I would be around if he'd come out here, and I said, yeah, we'll go fishing. I mean, we'll have a good time, and I think I'm looking forward to that. I really am. But we're going to go back to start making some videos, and Cindy's sister's going to get.
I'd love to see that.
Oh, we'll have a blast, and I'm kind of anal about how I want them to look, and
yeah,
we just want to. But what we're going to do is we're just going to be Cindy and Lyle. We're not going to be tournament fishermen. We're just going to go out, and if we're drifting that day, and I think I can explain it to people of how we set up planer boards and why we do certain things, we're going to talk about that. If I don't think I can do it where they'd understand it, then we're not going to talk about it. But what we're going to do is we're going to have fun. Mm-hmm. And if we're having fun, I think everybody else will have fun.
I agree. So yeah, if you can tell, like I had one video where I did an outro, and it had just been a terrible day. I think it might be – no, it's not the next video. I got one coming out in 2 weeks that I had to combine 2 days of fishing on because it was so bad. Boat breakdown, equipment, all that. Anyway, and I could just tell by the outro. And I didn't look at the footage for a few days. Like I waited and edited it after a week. And I looked at the outro, and I just could tell that I was not having fun on that outro.
Yeah.
So I made sure after that to be cognizant of that. Mm-hmm. Even if it hadn't been the best day, but you're still going to make a video about it. Everybody has to believe that I had the greatest time out on the water. No one wants to watch you sulk.
No,
and complain.
That's right. And everybody doesn't have a good day every time they go out. You just don't. And that's okay. One of the things, like I say, I could go on with stuff forever, but one of the most fun things that ever happened, we was doing, Doc and I was down at the Catfish Conference one year, and Dieter Melhorn and Luke Hinges flew in to Louisville. And Doc and I had both drove all day to get there, and was on a Friday. And we was doing a Friday night set, then we went live all day Saturday and half the day Sunday or whatever it was. And we was just beat. We got everything set up, and we went live or was getting ready to go live. And here come Luke and here come Dieter. And I said, here, boys, just sit down. And they done Catfish Weekly while Doc and I folded back and kind of enjoyed the evening there. And I laughed at them two fools. I had so much fun listening to Luke and Dieter. They was going at each other and talking about stuff that may or may have not made any sense to anybody or not, but that's just kind of the way they was, and they had a wonderful time, and I enjoyed it. And Doc and I went in and closed it out, but that was one of the most fun evenings because it's a long drive. It's like 9 hours one way to Louisville for us, or maybe a little further after we stop a few times. And Doc had drove down there that day, and we just beat. And here them two come, and we just set them down there, and they knocked it out.
Yeah. Yeah, we had planned to come up this year, and obviously it was before all the COVID-19 stuff happened, but we had already had a plan to go out to Colorado this summer to visit my grandmother. So we were going to spend a good part of $1,000 or more to go out there to see her.
Oh, yeah.
And so we just decided, hey, we'll keep this money and just have a little nicer trip out to Colorado. And then now we have to cancel that. So, but no matter what, if the Catfish Conference is having next year, if they're having it, we're going to be there. Because I've only met 2 YouTubers, and that's KB and Pop.
Really?
They came down. Yeah, they came down to. There's not many around here, believe it or not. They came down to Santee. They were going to fish that Monster Quest tournament, and then that's when the COVID stuff hit. So they had already had reservations, and they were still letting them stay. And so they came anyway, and I went on their boat with them because, of course, mine was broken at the time.
Yeah. Those two are a hoot, man.
It was fun.
Another guy I like to watch is Big Nasty. Enjoy him and Big John that helped Steve Douglas. I can't remember. Don Null. I like to watch him a lot. There's a lot of them. If I am a subscriber and I get a notification, I watch them. I watch them all. And I believe you 100%. You're so supportive of everybody. I try to be, and if I'm doing something in here, whether it's tying jigs up for bluegill fishing, or if I'm building rods or whatever it is, I a lot of times will turn the screen around, turn the TV off, turn the volume up, and I'll continue to do what I'm doing. If they say something that I think I need to see, I'll turn around, watch it for a minute, then go back to doing what I do. But if
you hear fish on,
it's all in.
So there you go, guys. If you want Lyle to pay attention to your video, make sure that he gets over and sees your fish. Say fish on really loud when you get one of those.
Well, I got to tell you, if anybody's got a YouTube channel and they want me to see the videos of it, there's so many out there. It's really hard to keep up with everybody. If you'll send me a message or a email or something, say, hey, check out my stuff, I will go check it out. I do it all the time, and I enjoy doing it. There's a lot of good content out there, Kevin, right now.
Yeah.
That people don't even know about because they don't have some kind of big name. And some of the littler guys have as good or better content than some of the great big guys.
Yeah, I agree. There's some good stuff out there. And I really think that one thing that the new people, myself included, I feel like I'm trying to keep the quality up on my videos and trying to do some good editing. But, one thing that's different now than it was like when Luke from Catfish and Carp got started is you could basically take a phone and just film yourself out on the boat. And then nobody had seen that kind of stuff before. So everybody subscribed. And now there's so much out there. You have to be way up and you have to get it out. You have to activate the algorithm, which is what I've been trying to do. And which is basically why I started the live show. Oh, one of the reasons. But, I'm an administrator at a high school. So, I don't, during school, I really don't get to fish a lot. Maybe on the weekends, and Saturdays are terrible for fishing. But so I'm doing a live show to keep that algorithm going.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
And then I do the videos too.
Right. Evan's been doing a really good job on his Friday night shows. I've been enjoying them. But one of the things that I feel like I have missed the boat on, and I've tried to get this accomplished, is to get Keith on Catfish Weekly. And I haven't got that done with fishing and stuff. I think that he needs to do a Catfish Weekly show really bad. I've told him he needs to do one really bad, and he says he don't have the internet for it. Well, I understand he's pretty close to a couple of guys I know out there. He could probably go to their house and do that, and I really think that he should do that.
Yeah, I agree. And he actually talked about that. He told me you invited him on there, and then a couple other people. I think Patriots invited him on, and he said I can't do one without doing the other, so I'm not doing any of them. But I agree. Keith needs to be on there because he's just a fun guy to listen
He
to.
is, and today is the day.
Today.
Man, I love
Hey
that
y'all.
guy. He is so much fun. Yep.
So stick around.
Stick around. That's right. He's a hoot, man. Thank the world.
Yeah.
He does a great job. And like I say, I enjoy all his stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna give a sticker away.
Okay.
I kind of paused on the T-shirts because I think over the past 2 weeks I've given over. Now I am gonna get one. If Justin is still in here, his little girl was catching all those skipjack today, and I'm gonna get her a shirt. So Justin, as soon as the shirt comes in, I'm going to make it and send it out for your little girl to wear because I want everybody to see her little cute face catching those skipjack in a Palmetto cat shirt. You know they're lucky, Lyle. Those shirts are lucky.
They are lucky.
Yeah. So KB went fishing today and he caught one in it. Dieter says he always catches fish in the shirt. So and then Justin, he says it. So I don't know. You guys need to go on my Facebook page in order to use a shirt.
They're very nice. I have
But
one. Love it.
I'm gonna give out a Palmetto Cat sticker. You have to be active in chat. I kind of like that. I'm gonna get away from the number thing because that's crazy, especially with more than 10 people in the chat. That's hard to keep up with. I don't even know why I started that.
It is hard to do.
So I'm gonna, in honor of Lyle. Lyle, give me number 1 through 5.
3.
3. 1, 2, 3. Stop. Muskrat Adventures.
Heck yeah.
Do you already have one? I think it's Roger, isn't it?
Roger.
Have you already won one, Roger? If you have, I'll still send you one, but I'm going to do another drawing for one since I have them. So let me know, Roger. So,
Kevin, a few weeks ago, I gave away some jigs that
I got mine.
You don't use them though, do you?
I hadn't had a chance to yet.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's come on your show.
Awesome.
Somebody that likes the bluegill and crappie fish. I sit around and make them when I'm not doing anything else. And with this COVID-19 going on, I haven't been doing a whole lot.
Yeah, you got a lot more time to make them, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I got them right here. I actually hadn't been fishing. We got the new boat, and I gotta rig it.
You gotta get it ready to rock.
Yeah,
I've got some.
Here's one of the jigs. Lyle makes these. So yeah, they look professional, man. You did a really good job.
Oh, thanks.
Like I wouldn't even know. So Muskrat already has a sticker. So
here's one of the new ones, Kevin. They got a lot of. Too close. A lot of sparkles in them. Some of these I've made so many of them now that there's a chartreuse and white one.
That's not showing up because you're green screen.
Oh, it's green. It's green.
That's funny.
How about
Roger? Do you want another sticker, or do you want to give it away to somebody else?
There's an orange one.
Okay.
But I got thousands of them. Well, not thousands, but seems like it.
Yeah.
But I enjoy doing it. It gives me something to do, and the dog looks at me like there's something wrong with me, and there may very well be.
Well, I don't know. I think you and Patriot need to start your own tackle shop. He's got the bobbers. He did a video today about how to use the bobbers.
I was thinking about that this afternoon, and I wonder how them jigs would work underneath some of his bobbers.
Hey, try it out.
Little piece of cut bait.
So Roger said, go ahead and give it to another person. So I'm going to spin again. 1, 2, 3, stop. Grant McIntosh. That's a new name too. New name in my channel. So Grant, if you're still in here, send me a message on my Facebook page with your address, and I'll get that out to you this week. And then we're going to pick another. Go ahead, give me a number, Lyle.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Mike Irvin. Mike Irvin, you won some of Lyle's famous panfish jigs. Do you call them panfish jigs or you call them bluegill jigs?
I call them bluegill jigs because that's about all I fish for. The reason I fish for them is because I like to cut them up for bait.
But that's something that I'm trying to teach. I'm motivated now with the new boat. You know, I got it rigged with a decent graph on it with down imaging, and I got a trolling motor, a nice trolling motor now. So I'm going to start actively fishing for bait so that I don't have to buy it so much.
Yeah.
Mike,
give me your information after the show. Just message it to me.
Yeah, message Lyle for your prize.
So what kind of depth finder did you get?
So it's a Lowrance hook reveal 7 split shot.
Good.
And I don't know much about depth finders. The only depth finder I've ever owned was a $99 Garmin that I got on Amazon, and it basically told me it had sonar on it, and it told me how deep it was. It's pretty much it would never ping fish. I could never.
Oh, that's too bad. You'll love it.
Oh yeah, the down imaging. We went over some of the same spots today and yesterday, and just is loaded with fish. So I'm pretty excited. And then my trolling motor is a power drive. It's got a 54-inch shaft, and it's 70 pound thrust, 24 volt system, and it'll pull that boat. It'll pull that 20-foot pontoon about 3 miles an hour.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
But all right, well, thank you for coming in. It's really been an honor, and I've always appreciated what you do. And I got to give a shout out to PD Joe. I know he's probably not on here anymore, but you know, when I first started YouTube, I had no clue there was even such a thing as Catfish Weekly or live talk shows. I just knew that. So PD said, "Hey man, why don't you come in here and watch this show?" And I haven't looked back since.
Well, I appreciate that.
I really thank you for inspiring me and inspiring a bunch of other people to get active and talk about fishing and really enjoy the sport. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the kind words. We started this just a bunch of guys sitting around talking about fishing and didn't know if anybody'd ever watch us or not, and it worked out. And the reason that I stayed at it is because I enjoyed it, and I think a lot of people did enjoy watching it. And I think now they're enjoying you, and they're enjoying Patriot and Avid and Joey and them guys, and I just think that there's room for everybody, and there's no reason to be hating on one guy over another. Just if you don't like him, you don't have to watch him. You go watch somebody.
Yeah, just don't watch.
It's pretty simple.
That's right.
And everybody that watched in chat tonight, thank you guys so much. I enjoyed being on the show, and keep doing what you're doing, man. It's awesome.
Thank you. All right, well, I'm going to end this in a prayer. Heavenly Father, we just thank you again for the opportunity to do these live shows, to meet so many great people, and to pay homage to those who have come before us, Lord. We just thank you that we live in the United States of America, that we're free to do this type of thing. And Lord, we just thank you for what you provided, that we're able to fish your waters and have fun doing something wholesome and something that, you know, has so much history. And we just thank you, and we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lyle. Yep. Everybody have a good night.
See you Monday night on Catfish Weekly.
That's right. Don't forget to watch tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Are you Central?
Central.
All right, 7 p.m. Central. All right, everybody. Have a good night.